In here. So I haven't done a video in a while, but just wanted to let you guys know what was going on. So I joined the Navy. I signed my papers and I will be shipping out July 9th. So if anybody wants to know like the details of Meps, here it is. So I live in Maryland and we had to drive all the way to Virginia in order for me to go to Meps. So when I went to Meps, I stayed the night because I had to take the ASVAB on a Wednesday, and then on that Thursday I actually did the processing. So I did the test and I had been studying for an extremely long time. Since I knew I wanted to join, I had been studying. So I did very badly on my ASVAB, and I'm extremely upset about it, but it's okay. I still got the job that I had wanted, or it was on my list. So I took the ASVAB, they told me my score, and I literally cried all night, no lie. It was awful. And because I studied way too hard to get a crappy score. So, and I'm not a perfectionist. I'm one of those people that slim by in school. So yeah, anyway. So I started the Meps process the next day. I had a really cool roommate. We talked the whole time. It was awesome. And we stayed in this hotel, and just a heads up, these people, they're all really nice, but you're not allowed in the same room as the guy and the girl. So she was telling me about how she had gone to Meps before, and one of the her roommate had been in the room massaging this dude. No, you're not allowed in the same room. You're not supposed to. It's to prevent preggo-ness. So I don't know, but I don't know why they would chance getting in trouble the day before that they're about to sign papers. I don't know why. But so they did not get in trouble because I don't think they got found out. But anyway, so just don't do that. That's not okay. And then so the next day I woke up at 4, I think it was. Got around, we went down to breakfast. I had breakfast with this extremely attractive dude because I kind of just sat down at some random table. But you'll make lots of friends because there's this room where you can play games and stuff. Or it was in Virginia. It was for Virginia, and I played games with these 3 dudes. It was Monopoly, I think it was. I lost epically. It was bad. It was so bad. And so we played games, and there was movies going, and everybody was really helpful. My heater didn't work, and so I told the liaison lady that was in that room at the hotel, and within a couple minutes it was fixed. They're all really super nice, and they're thank you for your service. And sometimes I don't know what to say when people say that. I haven't served yet. I haven't even gone to boot camp. So whatever, but I just say thank you. I don't know how to take it. I'm weird. So I make it really awkward, thanks. And so we did that, and then next morning I woke up, had breakfast, went to the Meps station. We walked in, and I forgot my license and registration at the restaurant I had gone to the night before, and I was flipping out. But thankfully I had put my license and hold on a second. So I had put my license and my social security card, not my registration, my license in my purse, and I accidentally left my purse at the restaurant. But thankfully I had this whole big binder with my passport, all documentation. Like, I literally had every document that the Navy has ever handed me. So anything that I had to turn in, I had a second copy of. So I knew that if they lost it, it was on them. But I had a second copy so they could get it just in case. Thankfully, I had a copy of my social in there, and I had my passport. So I used those as identification until I could go get my purse. I was so mad. And so we got in, we put our backpacks and stuff away, and you take your fingerprint and they register you so that they know who you are, and so they know where you are. And so I get in and I go over to the health part. So first we did sight. Well, I'm blind, okay? Like, not really blind, but like, I can't see. So I did that, and they were pretty much like, you can't have your glasses on, like, try to read these lines. And I was like, I think you're crazy, there's no lines there. And he was like, no, there really is. And I was like, oh, oops. So, but everybody's really funny. Just be really nice to everybody. They're awesome. So we did that. Then we did a hearing test. They take your blood. Yes, with a needle. Like, it goes in really fast. No big deal. Like, the people there are trained. It's not like it's just some random ass person sticking a needle in your arm. Like, chill, okay? There's people flipping out. One dude passed out, and he looked like a vagina. It was sad. So, really not a vagina, because you know what? Women are strong. But still. So, he passed out, but it was really funny. And they take your blood, and then I went to, like, the women's section. So the men's section and the women's section, and I can't speak for the men because I have no idea what happened. But I hear that they have to, like, cough and grab their balls and whatever. So I went in, and I waited to see, like, the doctor guy. And so he pretty much just asked me questions. Like, he couldn't give me, like, the physical because, well, he's a man and I'm a chick. So, so we did that, and I got disqualified for being allergic to a pain medication. And so he was like, well, after you're done with the health part, like, you're done, like, you can go home, like, you can't talk to the other section today. So I was like, oh, okay. So I finished up the health part pretty much. The lady did the physical. It's really awkward, whatever. Like, if you've gone to an OB, it's not a big deal, but there was like 17-year-old girls that were like, oh my god, like, oh my gosh, she has to touch me. So you have to pull your underwear down, and she has to, like, open up everything. And it's really, it's awkward, of course it is. Like, any woman or person, like, down there, like, it's weird. So it's really fast, though. Like, it's not a big deal. And so she does that, and then you have to go into this other room. And then there's, like, 6 other girls in this room. Well, she decided to pack in, like, 9. And so there was 10 of us in this room. You have to strip down to your bra and your underwear, and you have to do all these weird things, like, and then, like, circles and random stuff, and it's a bit awkward because you're all in your underwear, and you have to, like, bend down and do squats and wear proper underwear. Wear proper underwear and a proper bra. Don't be going in there having holes in your underwear. Nobody wants to see that. Do you understand? Nobody wants to see it, okay? It's great that you are a holy person, but nobody else cares, okay? Okay. So anyway, that happens, and you have to, that takes a while. So then I get out of my medical, and I'm finished, and they give you this, like, briefing, and it's like, so you're joining the Navy, blah, 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 blah. if anybody touches you inappropriately, please tell us because there's zero tolerance for this ever, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't just Navy. There was Army and Marines and Air Force and Coast Guard and yeah. So there was a lot of different people there. And then they do a breathalyzer to make sure that you weren't drinking and a drug test. Well, you have to pee in a cup in front of someone while they watch you. It's not a big deal. Like, don't make it awkward. Like, don't just, like, sit there and stare at the person while you're peeing. Like, that's weird. Okay, don't do that. And, so you pee in the cup, and then they do a pregnancy test. So if you're pregnant, you automatically get disqualified. Like, that's kind of obvious. Let's hope. And, then they do a drug test. But they do that with the blood, I think. I'm pretty sure. So, don't use any illegal drugs. Like, no weed. Like, I know it's not illegal, but it's still illegal in like, the military. You're not allowed to have any drugs. So, don't do that. So, after that's all done, I left, and my parents came and picked me up because they wanted to see me, like, do the thing. And, so we left, and my mom was getting really annoyed with my phone ringing because my phone was blowing up for some reason. And so I turned it on silent, and I went to sleep. And while we get all the way home, which was 4 hours away, and they were like, "Where'd you go?" And I was like, "Home? Like, you told me I had to leave. Like, that was all I could do today." And they were like, "Well, your waiver for the medication that I got disqualified for got passed within 4 hours, which never happens. Like, nobody would have known that would happen. Like, I just don't understand why they expected me to know that could happen because everybody there was like, it's not going to happen. Like, you can go home now because they normally take 2 weeks. That's what everybody told me. 2 weeks that this waiver was going to take. And I get home in 4 hours and they're like, you should be here still. Like, you could have picked your job. I was so pissed. I was like, it was already late, but I was like, I'll drive back up there tonight if you want. Like, I'll speed, like, whatever. And so they were like, no, we'll just go up tomorrow morning. So I went back up the next morning, and all I had to do was talk to the like Navy recruiter or the Navy liaison person, and they were like, okay, so you're gonna pick a job, we're gonna talk about your ASVAB score, we're gonna talk about your like history, blah blah blah. Well, I'm Scottish and I am a US and a Scottish citizen, and so I have many relatives over in Scotland, Ireland, Australia. Like, my mom's half of the family is all over the world. So they were like, oh, do you have any outside contacts? And I was like, yes. They were like, how many? I was like, about 6. And they were like, oh, well, you need to find out every single one of their addresses. Hold on. Every single one of their addresses and their phone numbers and all this stuff, and thankfully my mom was there so she could figure it out. But like, if my parents had not been there, like, I would have been screwed. Like, I wouldn't have known any of that, and it was stupid. So we got that all straightened out, which took like a good hour and a half, like, no lie. And so they entered that all in, and then so I was sitting in like this, there's like the room that has all of the like separate branches, and then there's where you sit in the middle and they call your number. So all of a sudden I hear this blood curdling scream from like a child, and I was like, what? Like, this is like an official place, like there shouldn't be children here. And then I see the Army shut their door, and the scream just continues. And then finally this woman walks out, or kind of runs out and goes, "Can someone help? Like, help my daughter!" And I was like I'm an EMT. Like, I might be able to help. There's a chance, possibly. And so they were like, "Okay, yeah." So this little girl had gotten her hand stuck in a shredder. Not all the way in, thankfully, but I mean, it made it sound like her fingers were getting cut off, but they weren't. Like it was like centimeters, like centimeters away from the actual shredder part, and she was screaming. She couldn't get her fingers out. So what do these army people do? Pour water on the shredder that's plugged in. Tell me where the logic in that is, because I didn't see it, and nobody else really saw it. So I was like, "Did you guys unplug this yet before you pour water on it?" And they were like, "Oh, that's probably a good idea." What? You're joking, right? So they must have thought that water is a lubricant because, well, it's not. Just so people know, water is not a lubricant. It's not going to help you slip out of anything. So they finally got, like, her hands, like, they took the whole top off. And I'm trying to calm this little girl down, and she is screeching in my ear. And so we got her fingers out, and she had a tiny little cut, like tiny, from where they had taken it off, and it had pinched. Like, it pinched her fingers, and that was it. She was fine, but, I mean, that was probably the most exciting part of Meps. It's not exciting. It's not fun. It's boring. It's a lot of waiting. Just remember, the military is a hurry up and wait. Okay? You're always going to be rushed, and then you're going to be sitting there waiting for like an hour and a half. So, but anyway, I eventually picked my job. Okay, so this is not the job that I wanted. I got about a list of jobs that was, I think it was like 15 different jobs that I got to choose from, and out of that 15, what was available that day was 2. Okay, so it was a mechanic job, which, by the way, I am no mechanic. I know nothing about cars or vehicles. I don't even know how I got a mechanic job, because I'm pretty sure I guessed on all of the questions in the ISFAB for mechanic session. Dead serious. It was awful. So I picked Seaman Packed, which is undesignated. Yes, I know, undesignated is the worst thing in the world. Ah. Okay, but I'm going in an E3, and after 5 months of me being a Seaman Packed, I will be able to choose a job. I do not plan on this actually being my job, because I put in a waiver to get a different job before I leave for boot camp. So I'll get a job change, and then probably my date will change again to operations specialist or parachute rigger. Those are both jobs that I really want, and I want something with intelligence, so that's why I picked OS. And parachute rigger is supposed to be really interesting and fun, and you get to travel a lot. And the ultimate test for a parachute rigger is at the end of their school, they have to jump out of a plane with a parachute that they themselves packed. So it's kind of like, oh, well, if you fucked up, you're gonna die. So that happened, and then I finally picked my job, and then they told me my date, and then we go in and we do the whole, I have committed my life, like I'm signing my life away speech, and I'm going to take pictures and blah, 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 and then you do your fingerprints again, and that's pretty much it. It was interesting, but it wasn't the most thrilling thing. Like, it's really exciting beforehand. You're like, oh my god, like, I'm so doing this. Like, who knew? Blah, blah, blah. And then afterwards, it's just like, man, that was really boring, actually. Like, why did I think this was exciting? So anyway, that was fun. If you have any other questions, just comment below. And then go check out my other awful videos, because sometimes I get bored and I make videos. Like now. Okay, so just let me know. Thank you. And if you have any other questions, I'll keep you updated.